Hi, welcome to today's video. What I'm going to discuss with you shortly is how do we select a good feng shui BTO for you. So what is BTO? BTO actually means build to order. It is actually a program launched by the Housing and Development Board, which is one of the so-called statutory board from the government, and they actually govern and manage the public housing. So on and off, usually within a year, there will be a few locations over the 4 quarters of the year that they will launch batches of public houses of different sizes as well. There are 2-room, 3-room, and 4-room. So very often I receive requests from clients, from my students that they are going to pick and select a good BTO units. So basically BTO units are yet to be built. They will only be built when the order, so-called the application, hits certain minimum amount of a percentage. Then they will start to construct. That's what I understand. Okay, so that's the meaning of build to order, depending on the order. But it is a very popular scheme, and this term BTO is a household term, I would say. If you are Singaporean, you should know this term BTO. Okay, and it is very so-called popular, and there's always a situation of being oversubscribed. Like the recent launch at Hougang Kovan, I think the ratio is 20, maybe now even more, 20 applicants to 1 unit, because that area is very accessible. You know, it is very convenient with a lot of facilities. Okay, so in this video, the objective is for me to actually explain, okay, if you are coming to me for feng shui BTO selection because you want to find a good feng shui unit, these are usually the steps that I will be doing. So I'm going to share with you what are the steps. Now, before I proceed further, I just want to let you know that it is important that you select a good feng shui house at the onset, instead of getting a house and later you realize that it is not a good feng shui house and try to fix the problem, which is sometimes very difficult. And having a bad feng shui house will usually cost you your health, your career, your money, and even your relationship. So in my opinion, it is not advisable to do feng shui only after you purchase your house. If you can, seriously, okay, do the feng shui selection first. Okay, find a good feng shui house and then you buy, and then that will save you a lot of hassle subsequently. Because some of the feng shui problems are actually structural. Sometimes they are almost impossible to rectify, which I'm going to show you examples, like, for example, wall knife. So this is actually a client house. Currently, he has already moved out based on my advice. Of course, after he fulfills certain requirement, he also saved up enough. If I'm not wrong, currently he has bought and moved into a condominium. So what happened is that this is a wall knife that is confronting his living room. Okay, so what happened is that after he moved in, he went for operation. If I'm not wrong, it is a limb surgery. So this thing has to be avoided at all costs. And another situation here is, this is somewhere also in the northeast, I think Buangkok area, if I'm not wrong. So when my client opened his main door, he can actually see that there's this very sharp edge of the wall coming from opposite. If I'm not wrong, this is a lift shaft that's confronting the main door. And true enough, the reason that why he actually asked me to go and check the feng shui is, of course, because he actually encountered a lot of issues. And one of the issues here is, again, health problem. So he has gone through operation again. And these are so-called the semi-wall knife. This is a Pongo unit, if I'm not wrong, if I can recall. Some of the Pongo units that I've done feng shui for actually have this type of low parapet wall. But unfortunately, the sharp corners are confronting the main door. And this is, again, very dangerous. This is actually a condominium, but what I'm trying to show you is that some of the unit today, when you open your main door, you see this thing. And this is bad, of course. Wall knife again. Because of the, you know, in Singapore, because of a lack of space. So most of the BTO housing board units, the flats are all built very close up to one another. And therefore, it is sometimes quite difficult to pick a good unit that is free from shaqi. However, there are still units that can be so-called free from the shaqi, which I'm going to show you. This is one of the shaqi here, very, very common. It's called wind gap. That means the houses that is behind here will be subjected to this tight, narrow wind gap. Okay? So this wind gap again will also cause legal problem, blood problem, and surgery. Now, another problem here is that in our HDB, especially the rooftop area, there's this thing called the water tank shaqi. So basically, we do not want to see this water tank because this is called a form. It's a shaqi from the form, the shape of the water tank. And this thing looks like the medicine bottle. So people that has a unit that is seeing this thing will actually later on be subjected to chronic diseases. And they will have to really literally take medication, you know, the medicine water for a very, very long time. So this is from the bird's eye view. So where is the water tank? The water tank are all this thing. Okay, here. So try to avoid. Actually, in this instance, let me tell you, they are block up. So block up is not that bad anymore. Compared to this one is exposed. For your information. So don't be naive to think that hanging this item below in the next slide can help to block the shaqi. Okay? Because in my so many years of practice, let me tell you, if this thing can easily fan off all the shaqi, and you know, this thing are actually not expensive, you know, then I will definitely introduce. Unfortunately, the hard truth is they are not effective at all. You see, so let's go into the BTO thing. So today, if you are looking to buy a BTO unit, you will probably have shortlisted some according to the room type, location, accessibility, and budget, and then you will get an appointment from HDB subsequently. Okay, so you have to already upfront decide what is the room type that you want. 4-room, 3-room, 2-room, and the location as well. Okay, the rest will be based on your accessibility consideration and your budget. So let me explain to you what are the information that as a feng shui master that I need from you if you want to engage my service, and how we actually carry out the feng shui checks on the units. Okay, I'll give you a very broad overall picture of how we actually do the checks. Now, step number 1. If today you want to engage my service to help you shortlist or find out which is the best or better choices, okay, among all those that you have shortlisted, you need to give us the development site plan, which is this one. Okay, and I want the one in PDF form, or in a proper form. I don't want those brochures to be taken from your camera because sometimes there may be distortion. So you also have to provide me with the individual block plan like this and the unit floor plan like this. Okay. Step number 2, you need to circle those that you shortlist, because basically based on this floor plan, right, there are some stacks that belong to 3-room. And they are actually highlighted in different color, like this, you know, like this. But over here, I make it black and white so that it's easy for me to illustrate. Like for example, you have to put a tick there, or you put a cross there, or you circle for me, you know. For example, based on your budget, based on the room type, and based on the fact that you want to be nearer, maybe over here is the car park, or maybe the MRT is nearer to this side of the estate. So you tell me which one you want. And of course, based on the effort here, the number of flats that you have chosen, I will then quote you my fee. Okay. Step number 3 is based on what you have selected, I will check for surrounding shaqi, because you may ask, hey, so I pay you this amount of money, what are you going to do? So what are the steps? So the steps are pretty tedious in a way, depending on how many units that you want to shortlist. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say you want this and you want this. Okay, these 2 units. Okay, I will check the surrounding. Of course, as a feng shui master, we are trained to see this thing. But also, let me give you some tips. So I will avoid these 2 units based on the reason that, because can you see that there's a shaqi coming from the back? This is facing here, but can you see that at the back, this is the wall cutting. So some people, they cannot spot this thing, because anyway, I don't blame them because they are laymen. And there's one more over here. Can you see that this thing also come and hit the 442, unit 442 here. And this is a shaqi, and please avoid at all costs. Even though the flying star chart can be very nice, the internal layout or the geji or whatever you call it, but because of this external shaqi, which is not just limited to these 2, okay, can actually give you a lot of problem in terms of health. Now, in this picture, can you tell me what are the shaqi, or where are the shaqi? Okay, I give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. First one. Can you see that this is not aligned? So what happened is that this, actually, if you look from the plan view, you'll see that the edge here will be cutting this unit. Either this one or this one. So you have to actually look from the bird eye view. Then it's clearer. Okay, so if you hit this unit, then please don't choose this unit. This is shaqi, war knife. The next one is this one. You look at this kind of pavilion. This thing is also a rooftop, you see, and this thing can hit the low floor. Say this is a level 5. So please avoid choosing level 5, because the edge here is going to hit you. And can you choose level 6? Of course you can, if you are already above the roof. So this is actually one of the few important things that we are looking at. The other thing will be substation, okay, for example, and other little thing that you probably are not trained to look at. Step number 4. After I look at the surrounding, I also check the direction of house facing and door location using my own stencil like this. And I will, based on the system known as the Xuan Kong Flying Star as well as Xuan Kong Liu Fa, to help you choose doors that are located, main door, they are located in the auspicious sector for the next period. And the next period is going to last you at least 20 years. Okay, based on flying stars. Okay, the next period is going to commence 2024. And of course, today when you choose a BTO, usually the TOP is going to be beyond 2024. So it's going to happen on period 9. Let's say 2025, 2026. So it is imperative that we make sure that the door location and the flying star chart is good for you. It's good for this house. The door is located at the right corner, right sector, with a very good flying star combination. I'll show you what is flying star chart later on. Alright. So this is something that we use our stencil and superimpose. Number 5, check for surrounding shaqi. So we further zoom into this unit here. So we were looking at here, then later on I also zoom in further. Okay. So what happened here is that, hey, actually if you are choosing some of the units here, there are potential shaqi. Let's say outside don't have. Let's say your opposite block, your neighbor, there's no shaqi, there's no war knife. But internally you have to look at, based on the corridor, based on the staircase. So how do you see? So one of the many small little shaqi there's within the block itself will be, for example, this one. You probably didn't realize. You see, there is a shaqi hitting here. Because this is the wall. This is a staircase. So chances are there is like a wall knife also. Chances are, okay, that is hitting directly at your main door. And there are some other thing like the lift lobby. Because different BTO got different way of designing the lift lobby, the common corridor, and certain like certain unit, certain part of it is jutted out, and it may also shoot the poison arrow at your flat. Okay, because I have done so many, you know, for the past so many years, ever since almost like 20 years ago when I first practiced Feng Shui, when BTO was already you know, launched. I've already been helping people to select units. Okay, not only that, condominium soft launch as well. Then I will, based on the direction, usually the based on the developer floor plan, okay, the site plan, they will actually have the north, south, east, west. So that is something that we can rely on, but I must stress that that's not 100%, frankly speaking. Because when you bring your raw pan down, when it's TOP, when you go and measure, sometimes the degree may differ by quite a fair bit. Nevertheless, okay, this is the best way that we can calculate the feng shui of your unit. Because the unit is not built yet. We can't go down. It's just a plot of empty land. Okay, we can only go down 4 years later when it's TOP. But right now, the best we can do is to rely on the developer compass that is printed on the site plan. So based on that, based on my experience, I know that what we should be looking at, you know. So I would say the accuracy can be up to 90% accuracy. And sometimes the direction is toggling between, can be west 1, west 2, or west 1, southwest 3. And then what happened? Then we have a plot 2 chart, and then we look at the overall situation to see that what is the chances, the probability that we can get this unit, or this unit can fulfill the flying star and the liu fa, okay, and also free of all the shaqi. And if we can fulfill this thing, all right, tick all my checklist, I will recommend. And then subsequently, I also look at this one to see basically, at a closer look, I would say, zoom in to have a better look at how usually the main, like for example, the bed will be positioned. Okay, if I'm going to position the bed and flip it over to the other wall, is it possible? Okay, if I don't like the bed to be here because there's a 5-4 there, can I flip it to the other side? All right, so I have to also understand from the occupants how many people are staying inside. Are there going to be children? Because if it's only one child, maybe you are going to use just one single bed. So details like this, all this comes from our experience. Okay, and then we look at the stove position. Maybe the stove is not built in yet, and therefore we have more free play. Later on, we will know that this house can give us a free play, and we saw that there are actually a few good sector within the kitchen to put the stove. So in my way of assessing the feng shui is very easy. We look at the main door position, we look at the bed position, we look at the stove position. If I can hit 3 out of 3 and outside there's no shaqi, I'll recommend to buy. Okay, I'll recommend to buy. Simple as that. So you can entrust us to objectively assess the units and then give you our recommendations. That's all I want to say. All right, and our property selection, of course, also include resale condo, resale HDB, landed house, office, even yin feng shui, columbarial niches. So if you have any question, you want to find out more about our BTO or condo selection services, do email us at academy@destinyasia.com.sg. And to find out more about us, our courses, you can come to our website or join me at my Facebook. Very often I will post a lot of tips on 奇门遁甲, 八字, face reading, feng shui, etc., etc. All right. So thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.